What if everything you've been taught about becoming stronger is backwards? Most people believe strength begins with the body. Lift heavier, run farther, push harder. But one of history's most feared warrior societies believed the exact opposite. The Spartans did not create unstoppable soldiers by building powerful muscles first. They built minds that could not be shaken, because they understood a truth that many people still struggle to accept today. A weak mind will always betray a strong body. That's why Spartan boys weren't simply trained to fight. They were trained to master fear, endure discomfort, control emotion, and make decisions under pressure long before physical strength reached its peak. Centuries have passed since Sparta disappeared, yet the battlefield has only changed its shape. Today, your enemies may not carry spears, but they still attack every day. Distraction, anxiety, self-doubt, comfort, and the endless temptation to quit. So why did the Spartans train the mind before the body? The answer may completely change how you think about discipline, resilience, and personal strength. Ancient Sparta was unlike any other city-state in Greece. Everything about its culture revolved around survival. Surrounded by enemies and constantly preparing for conflict, the Spartans knew that victory depended on something far deeper than physical ability. History often remembers them for their shields, their armor, and legendary battles like Thermopylae. But those achievements were only the visible result of an invisible foundation. The real Spartan weapon was psychological. The Spartans understood something that modern neuroscience continues to confirm. The body almost always follows the mind. Before muscles can endure pain, the mind must decide that pain is acceptable. Before courage appears in action, it must exist in thought. This is why Spartan education, the Agoge, was never simply a military training program. It was a system designed to forge character under constant pressure. And perhaps that's why so many people today feel exhausted despite living easier lives. Our bodies have become more comfortable than ever, while our minds have become less prepared for discomfort. To understand the Spartan secret, we have to begin where they did, not with strength, but with the architecture of the mind itself. The first lesson: comfort is the enemy of readiness. A Spartan child learned very early that comfort was temporary, but character lasted forever. Life inside the Agoge was intentionally difficult. Food was limited, clothing was simple, sleeping conditions were harsh, challenges were constant. This wasn't cruelty for its own sake. Every hardship had a purpose. The Spartans believed that dependence on comfort made a person fragile. If your peace depends on perfect conditions, then the world controls you. But if you can remain steady when conditions become difficult, then your strength belongs to you. Think about modern life. Many people postpone important work because they don't feel motivated. They avoid difficult conversations because they feel uncomfortable. They delay exercise because they're tired. They abandon goals because progress becomes inconvenient. Notice the pattern. The obstacle isn't physical. It's psychological. The Spartans trained themselves to stop negotiating with discomfort. Instead of asking, "Do I feel like doing this?" they asked, "Does this need to be done?" That single shift transforms discipline. Because discipline isn't the absence of discomfort. It's the refusal to let discomfort make your decisions. But mastering discomfort was only the beginning. The Spartans knew the greatest battles weren't fought against pain. They were fought against fear. The second lesson: courage begins long before danger arrives. People often imagine courage as something that appears in dramatic moments. The Spartans disagreed. To them, courage was built quietly, every single day. A soldier who panics in battle doesn't suddenly become fearless because the stakes are high. Under pressure, people reveal the habits they've practiced for years. That's why Spartans rehearsed adversity before facing real danger. Every difficult exercise carried an invisible lesson. Stay calm. Think clearly. Control yourself. Act anyway. Fear was never considered shameful. Being ruled by fear was. Today, fear rarely looks like an approaching army. It looks like sending the email you've been avoiding, starting the business you've dreamed about, speaking honestly, making the first move, leaving the job that slowly drains your spirit. Fear has changed its appearance, but not its nature. The Spartan response remains surprisingly relevant. Don't wait until you're fearless. Train yourself to act while fear is still present. Because courage is not emotional certainty. It is disciplined action despite uncertainty. And yet, even courage becomes unstable without another quality the Spartans valued above almost everything else: self-control. The third lesson: master yourself before trying to master anything else. Imagine standing in formation beside hundreds of Spartan warriors. One soldier loses control. He panics. He charges ahead. He abandons the formation. The result isn't just his failure. It endangers everyone around him. For the Spartans, emotional control wasn't simply personal development. It was survival. Impulsive decisions destroyed discipline. Unchecked anger destroyed strategy. Pride destroyed judgment. This explains why Spartan training emphasized restraint as much as aggression. The strongest warrior wasn't necessarily the most violent. He was the one who could remain composed while chaos surrounded him. Modern life constantly rewards emotional reactions. Instant opinions, instant outrage, instant gratification. Everything competes for your attention and your emotional energy. The Spartan approach asks a radically different question. Who is controlling your mind? You? Or everything happening around you? Every notification that interrupts your focus? Every criticism that ruins your day? Every impulse that steals your attention? These are modern tests of self-mastery. Winning them may not look heroic, but over time, they determine the quality of your entire life. Still, even self-control requires one more essential ingredient: purpose. The fourth lesson: every hardship must serve something greater. The Spartans never embraced suffering simply because suffering sounded noble. Pain without purpose was meaningless. Difficulty was valuable only because it prepared them for something greater. Every exhausting march, every demanding exercise, every sacrifice, all of it pointed toward one mission: protect Sparta. This sense of purpose transformed hardship. The same experience can either break someone or strengthen them, depending on the meaning attached to it. Think about two people carrying the same heavy load. One sees pointless suffering. The other sees meaningful preparation. The physical effort is identical. The psychological experience is completely different. Many people today aren't overwhelmed because life is too difficult. They're overwhelmed because they can't see why the struggle matters. Purpose changes endurance. When your actions connect to something larger than temporary comfort, persistence becomes far easier. The Spartans understood this instinctively. The fifth lesson: greatness is built through repetition, not inspiration. Legends often make greatness look dramatic. Real Spartan life was repetitive. Training, practice, formation drills, discipline. Again, and again, and again. They didn't expect excellence to appear through sudden moments of motivation. They trusted repetition. This is perhaps one of the biggest differences between the modern mindset and the Spartan mindset. Today, many people chase inspiration. The Spartans chased habits. Because inspiration is unpredictable, habits are dependable. A person who only acts when motivated will eventually stop progressing. A person who acts because discipline has become routine continues moving regardless of emotion. Think about any meaningful achievement: learning a language, building a business, improving your health, strengthening relationships, writing a book. None of these happen because of one extraordinary day. They happen because ordinary days accumulate. The Spartans understood that identity is built through repeated action. You don't become disciplined by thinking disciplined thoughts. You become disciplined by repeatedly choosing disciplined behavior. Eventually, those choices stop feeling exceptional. They simply become who you are. But there was still one final lesson that made Spartan mental training so powerful, one that united everything else. The sixth lesson: the mind must lead the body. The body feels tired. The mind decides whether to continue. The body feels fear. The mind chooses the response. The body experiences pain. The mind assigns meaning. This was the foundation beneath every aspect of Spartan training. Physical endurance was never the goal. It was the evidence. The real victory occurred inside the mind first. A Spartan warrior who had already conquered hesitation, fear, comfort, distraction, and self-pity became incredibly difficult to defeat, not because he couldn't be wounded, but because adversity no longer controlled him. This idea remains profoundly relevant. Most people spend years trying to change external circumstances before strengthening internal discipline. They believe confidence comes before action. Motivation comes before consistency. Success comes before resilience. The Spartans reversed the order. Master the mind. The body will follow. Master your reactions. Your circumstances begin to change. Master your habits. Your future begins to change. The greatest battlefield has never been outside you. It has always been within. Perhaps the most misunderstood aspect of Spartan greatness is that it was never about becoming fearless, emotionless, or invincible. The Spartans knew they could lose battles. They knew they could suffer. They knew they would eventually die. Yet they trained relentlessly because they believed the highest form of victory wasn't defeating another person. It was refusing to be defeated by yourself. That is the lesson that survives thousands of years. Your greatest obstacle is rarely a lack of talent. It's the voice that seeks comfort over growth, the impulse that chooses distraction over focus, the fear that whispers, "Not today," the excuse that promises tomorrow. Every time you silence that voice, even in a small moment, you participate in the same psychological battle the Spartans understood so well. You don't need a battlefield to practice courage. You don't need armor to develop resilience. You don't need ancient weapons to cultivate discipline. You simply need opportunities to choose your higher self over your easier self. Those opportunities appear every single day. And unlike the Spartans, you don't have to wait for war to discover whether the Spartans trained their minds before their bodies because they understood a timeless truth. Strength is never created by muscles alone. It is created by decisions. Every disciplined action, every controlled emotion, every uncomfortable step taken despite resistance, every promise kept to yourself. These are the invisible victories that eventually become visible strength. History remembers Spartan warriors because of what they accomplished on the battlefield. But their greatest achievement happened long before the battle began. It happened inside the mind. Perhaps that's the lesson worth carrying into the modern world. Not to become harder, not to become colder, but to become someone whose principles remain steady when circumstances become difficult. Because the strongest person in any room is rarely the loudest, the fastest, or the most physically powerful. It is the one whose mind cannot be easily conquered. If this perspective challenged the way you think about discipline and mental strength, leave a comment with the lesson that resonated with you the most. And if you found value in this journey through Spartan wisdom, consider liking the video and subscribing for more timeless insights from history's greatest traditions.